I am Austin Luga.
I'm Andrew Harp.
This is With Nothing to Say.
Let's talk about Lost in America.
Before we get into this week's film, next week we're going to be watching King of New York, an Abel Ferrara movie. We did The Body Snatchers, and we did three Body Snatchers movie for the podcast. It's the only Abel Ferrara movie I've ever seen, and I'm excited. I mean, I liked the Abel Ferrara's Body Snatchers, and he said his movies are very different. I've seen Werner Herzog's Bad Lieutenant 2, The Port of Call, New Orleans. It's just, I stand by a terrible name, but I haven't seen the original, so I think I'm going to go on a bit of a trek to find some Abel Ferrara movies and watch them over these next couple of weeks. But is there any particular reason you were feeling Abel Ferrara? Because you did pick the movie
We
this
haven't
week.
really, he's like one of my favorite directors, though we haven't really like talked about all that much.
Yeah.
Um, I might watch more of his stuff too. Like there's still like a good chunk of his films I haven't watched. I've basically watched all of his more popular ones, like his more well-known ones. Um, but he has plenty of more minor stuff that I haven't gotten around to. And he was in Marty Supreme. He played like a significant acting role in Marty Supreme. He's a very particular personality. I would recommend watching his appearances on the Conan O'Brien show because he seems a little knotted out.
Okay.
And even years later, William Dafoe was on Conan, and he talked about um, Abel being on Conan. And he kind of like does like an impression of him, and he kind of makes fun of him a little bit. So, yeah, he's great, and he's got a crazy personality, and but we haven't done any of his like really big films. So,
Well, I'm excited. I'm very excited for this experience. And this week we watched what I think will go down as the funniest movie we've seen for this podcast. I was looking
wow,
back through. I mean, we've watched some funny movies for this podcast, but I don't know, man. This
it's it.
it may be comedy perfection. I mean, every line in this movie is just so funny. And
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's awesome. Yeah, I realized that when I picked this movie, I forgot that like we've sort of talked about Albert Brooks
Hmm.
when we saw Broadcast News. I forgot we watched
Yep.
Broadcast News and we talk about how great he is in that movie.
Very
He's very
different
funny.
performance in this.
Yeah, yeah. His move, Broadcast News is a little bit more dramatic. I don't know. There's dramaticism and stuff like in Lost in America, I
Yeah.
guess. Uh, I agree though. Like this is like one of my favorite comedies. I think it's so good. Uh, and I think Albert Brooks, I think his like filmography, like the movies that he writes and directs, and I think he stars in all of them.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I have watched them all now as of, the past like week or so. I've watched all of his movies. It's not that many. It's like maybe
Well,
around a dozen.
14. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like including shorts. I'm talking about his features, and
Right.
which is like half that.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, I love his movies. They're underrated, and he hasn't made a movie since 2005, unfortunately.
Wow. That
But
man needs to get back at it. He needs to get back on that horse.
he was in the new James L. Brooks movie, which
Okay.
who he's related to him.
Oh, really? I
I
mean, that makes
believe.
sense. Okay. Yeah.
And in fact, in Lost in America, you can see James L. Brooks
Yes. He's in a
in the
scene in the movie.
background.
Hmm.
Yeah, in the background of their party scene. Yeah, you can see him. So uh Albert Brooks also he voices a very legendary kind of one-off character in The Simpsons. I forget the name of the character, but it's like the kind of like the Elon Musk kind of esque
Hmm.
character. Way before Elon Musk was even a guy. Uh, like who he has like a flamethrower and he has like this like a company or something that like is imploding or whatever, and Homer starts working there or whatever, and it's a great character. So I love Albert Brooks. He's a great voice actor. Obviously, we know him a lot. We know his voice obviously too from being in Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
But as an adult, you watch his movies and you're like, these are the greatest like things ever. Like, why are they so good? And Lost in America, when I watched it again, I was really struck by like the filmmaking aspect, at least in terms of like not just like the comedy aspect of it, which is very funny. All the actors are great, but just kind of like the structure of it. And the other thing too that I was surprised by when I was watching it that I kind of forgot about is that scenes like they go on for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they really take their time. Like conversations, they go on and on for several minutes. There's really not very many places that they go.
And I actually did my research for this film, which I usually don't do. So I watched a lot of interviews with other people talking about Albert Brooks and talking about this
Hmm.
film. And one of the filmmakers who worked on the piece talked about how Albert Brooks is more interested in the character's movements than he is in the camera's movements. So a lot of times he'll have the camera just sit somewhere and have the
Yeah,
actors move around the place rather than the camera itself because to Albert Brooks, what's interesting is the story being told between the characters, not where the camera is, because often the camera can affect the story and tell the story in a different way. And while there is some beautiful framing in this, I think all of his films are very underrated, and Lost America is like way more beautiful than it has any need to be. And there's
yeah,
some like really incredible framing, but that's always
yeah. It's probably
secondary
his
to our
best looking
characters.
movie. It's probably his best looking movie now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Uh, he has some great images. Like the image of like the RV going through Las Vegas. Uh,
That is
his
such a great image.
um the stuff at the end is really fucking awesome too, which I'll talk about later.
Mhm.
But uh he picked some good locations. I mean, like the Hoover Dam, the office, Albert's office is like
Albert's
kind of
office
like a
is great.
weird,
Oh my
it's like a
God.
white office.
The scene where he goes from his office and it's a long one take and we just follow
Yeah.
behind him going
Hmm.
to the office where he's about to quit slash get fired, but he thinks
Yeah.
it's a promotion. That is such a cool, like it is so smooth and you have like this nice like
Yeah.
red leading lines and like the white walls. There's almost something a little Kubricky about it and it just goes
Yeah.
on. Like it's a really long take of just him walking from room to room and there's no like big reason for this. Like there's no joke in this, but it looks
Yeah.
just absolutely fantastic. And I
It
love
kind of
every second of it.
it kind of reminds me of a scene like in it's actually a minor Albert Brooks movie. It's a little like it's not great, but it's still very funny. But there's one really great scene in it. It's called The Muse. It's like a
Hmm.
late period one. And like Albert Brooks is like kind of playing himself. Not himself, but like he's playing a writer,
Yeah.
filmmaker guy. And he's trying to get like a movie made, but like people are not really like fucking with him. So he's able to get a meeting with Spielberg, with Steven Spielberg. And so he like goes he has to like walk very far to like the Spielberg office, and he goes
Hmm.
in there, and it's like a big building with like a ton of people like running around as if it's like a real office or something like that. And he's able to like go up and he's gonna meet Spielberg, and he goes into like a receptionist room, and she's like, yeah, go through that door, and it's like a tiny room, and then he goes into another tiny room, and there's some schlubby guy sitting there, and he's like, hey, like I'm Bob Spielberg. I'm Steven's cousin or something like that. And it's like that I'm reminded of that scene because yeah, like him having to like go through all the different like
Yeah.
offices and stuff like that. Like I was reminded about that as well. Uh yeah. So
In an interview talking about this film, Albert Brooks said in all of his movies that he says he doesn't know how to write characters, so he always just makes a different version of himself. And the only difference between
yes.
Albert Brooks in these movies is the job that he has. So he just picks jobs that he's interested in or something that he's worked in and then
Yeah.
bases the entire character around that. So, of course, in this case, it's an advertising executive, which I guess his brother worked in advertising. He's very interested in advertising. And I mean, that opening scene, because we really don't leave the house for quite a while. Like, there is a very significant portion of the film that just takes place inside that house.
It
And
does?
it's
I'm trying to think.
I mean, it's like 15 or 20 minutes. It's pretty
Oh,
significant.
like at the very beginning of the movie when
Yeah, at
they're
the
like
opening of the
talking and
movie.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
I love when he's like, I'm gonna sleep in the garage. And then he like walks away, and then he comes back. What am I doing? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not an animal. That line where he says I'm not an animal like makes me laugh so much. And you're totally right. Like in every Albert Brooks movie, if you like him, if you don't like him,
You're
you
not
probably
gonna like
shouldn't
his
watch any of
movies.
his movies because like yeah, he pretty much plays like kind of like the same character, which is
Yes.
kind of like sort of like an insecure kind of like it kind of reminds me of Woody Allen a little
Yeah,
bit,
it's like a
but
Woody Allen, Norm Macdonald kind of. mix.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I would say that's like a good way to describe it. Yeah, and so if you don't like his personality or kind of the way he talks and stuff, you're not gonna like his movies. But if you do, that's great. And in fact, in his last movie, which I watched recently, which was very good, looking for comedy in the Muslim world,
Hmm.
he just plays himself.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of plays like himself. So
It is definitely a Albert Brooks heavy film as all of his films are. But I mean, the whole cast here is really standout. You know, there's that great scene inside the casino where he has that long conversation with the casino manager, and I guess that actor whose name I can't remember at this exact moment, but that actor had not been cast in a film
he was
before,
really good.
and he just gives like this perfect performance. I mean, it is it is just so funny. There's that great line where he talks about, oh gosh, what musician does he talk about? Because he's like the schmucks who go see, you know,
Yeah, the Schmunks who go see. Yeah, yeah,
I
and
like
he's
that
like,
guy.
yeah, I like that guy, Maya Schmuck. Yeah, yeah, that's a great scene in the movie for sure. Him like trying to reason with this guy about like his wife like spending all of the money on gambling is very, very funny.
22. 22.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, yeah, like I love all that stuff, and Albert, like it just seems like he's just like one of those guys, one of those like actors who I think could like he can make any situation like kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like he
Hmm.
just kind of like he comes into a scene and he's just like he's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like he just immediately makes a scene like sort of like more funny or even like more dramatic or more like on edge because
Hmm.
he's kind of like an edgy guy, like he's kind of like an insecure guy, right? This is and he has that one movie, Modern Romance. That movie is basically all about like how insecure a man could possibly be, like how jealous a man could possibly be. Like that movie is like really funny and really great, but there's
Hmm.
something also very like about it. Like it's just like it's kind of cringe inducing a little bit, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Um Lost in America is more like about yuppies. Like
Hmm.
yuppies in the 80s. That's kind of like basically what the movie's about, right? It's about like the other thing about Lost in America that I kind of forgot about is that like these characters are like our main characters, like they suck.
Yeah.
Like they're pathetic. Like
You don't like them.
they you're not like well that's okay, so like here's the thing about the movie though that's brilliant.
Hmm.
It strikes a beautiful balance where the characters suck, they're pathetic, they're cowards, they're selfish, they anytime as soon as they get become uncomfortable they freak out, but you still kind of like them, like
You
you
do.
still kind of want them to like
You
you
want them to
still
succeed.
you want them to kind of like succeed. So I think it strikes like a beautiful balance that I feel like is very hard to pull off.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to do what they do, which I think shows like Seinfeld and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia do really well, which is you have these terrible
Yes.
characters who do terrible things,
Yeah.
and yet, and I think this is where a lot of
Or
film
even The Simpsons, even in The
or
Simpsons,
or
like,
The Simpsons,
yeah,
right? They're not good people, and you're not supposed to like them, but for some reason you're still rooting for them. Like there's
yeah,
something endearing about them. Like there's
yeah.
still something there that you want. Like when he loses, when she loses all the money, I guess originally when they finished shooting, they had a full finished film and they started showing it at places. They didn't have the nest egg scene where he has that argument, which I would argue is the best scene in
Great
the
argument.
movie.
Yeah, where they argue about the nest. You're not even allowed to say it. Don't even say nest. Don't even say egg. Any version of nest or egg.
If you see a bird in a tree, that's a stick.
That's a circle. What does he say? He calls it like a circular stick or something like that, or yes, a circle of
Do you want to
sticks or
order
something.
breakfast? It's a thing over easy.
Oh, I love that. And that scene, he just like pesters her, right? Like about losing the nest egg. And yeah, like the joke, of course, is that they keep on like saying the word. Ugh.
And it and the reason that see it's so wonderful and the reason that it wasn't originally in the script is she was just going to have that whole apology thing. They weren't going to go out. They didn't go out to Hoover Dam originally. And I guess when they got feedback, they're like, we hate her. Like, we have no reason. Like, we just hate, like, after she lost it, it was hard to connect with her. And I guess
Yeah,
that nest egg scene creates that sense of her, like, feeling bad. But I think it's just like
yeah,
seeing, you kind of need him to kind of fulfill that anger that he has kind of bubbling up. And then like
Yeah.
after that, you kind of forgive her because she's like, oh yeah, like they went through this thing that was hilarious and angry in the Hoover Dam location. I mean, they went to the Hoover Dam, and so it looks absolutely spectacular. And it's
Should you jump first or should I? Should you go first or should I? I love that yeah, that line also made me laugh a lot.
I
Just
mean,
like
they're
yeah, they slowly walk over the Hoover Dam and they're pissed off and just Albert Brooks like you see the Hoover Dam, it's beautiful, and Albert Brooks in the background just goes, "Should you go first or should I?" Oh, I love that scene. Ah,
and Albert Brooks talks about how one of the reasons he wanted to make this movie was because he'd seen Easy Rider, and he's like that people don't actually do that. Like no one just goes off and lets go of their life. He wanted to make
yeah.
fun of that fact that if someone actually did this, right? If someone sort of middle upper class
Yeah, yeah.
did the Easy Rider thing, I
Like
love
easy
that
right.
every time he introduces himself. Every time he like and
I'm
he goes
I'm
into
telling
like,
you,
oh,
you ever seen Easy
you ever
Rider?
seen
Yeah,
the movie
yeah.
Easy Rider?
Right, yeah.
We've
It's
left
funny because
society.
it's funny because like yeah, like these yuppies, they are not like an Easy Rider, they're like kind of like they're almost kind of like banished from society, you know, they're
Mhm.
like because they're like hippies because of the way that they look and they have motorcycles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But like the main characters are like not, right? Like they're very well
they have a lot of money.
they, they have a lot of money, right? They're wealthy. Yeah, they're wealthy people, you know. They're upper middle class, you know,
Mhm.
yuppies. Like
Yeah.
so there's nothing really particularly like uh transgressive about them. So yeah, the Easy Rider thing is also very funny how they keep on like bringing it up. Uh there is something kind of like it is basically like yeah, like I think like there's a point in bringing it up, right? Because like you said, like I think it's like almost kind of making like a parody of
Hmm.
Easy Rider, like we're getting on the road, you know, but they like don't go that far. They don't
No.
find or do anything particularly interesting. They're uncomfortable and they complain the entire time. They're stupid and they're prone to compulsion, like gambling all your money away. Uh, and then as soon as things get like really uncomfortable, they just give up. You know, they're basically just like, let's just do what we were doing before. So it's and again though, you're still kind of rooting for them.
You really are. And they just make these because they're bad, right? They're really bad at abandoning society. The very first night, because they're leaving from, I think they live in LA. And so the very first night they're in Las Vegas, which is
Yeah,
about, I think
yeah,
it's like a 4 hour drive, right? So it's not very far, even,
yeah. They're in
40
Nevada a
years
lot,
ago.
you know. They're Nevada, kind of a Nevada-esque movie, you
Yeah,
know.
pretty
Like yeah, think of
anti-Nevada, frankly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you talking about where they go to the hotel room and they're
They
like
do,
talking to the
right?
hotel
They're gonna
guy?
camp out
Yeah.
in the camper, and she's like, "Well, if we're gonna get
Right.
remarried tomorrow, we really should live it up just this one last time." He's like, "But we've abandoned society." She's like, "Yeah, but we're getting remarried, so it's important that we get this hotel room." And then that incredible scene where they're at the hotel and they're trying to get a room, the bridal suite, and he can't figure out how to bribe them. So at the end, he just asks him.
Yes.
He's like, "You know what? I'm
You
not
know
gonna figure
what?
it out. Just tell
How
me."
much do you want? Yes, I love that too.
I identify with that deeply because I don't know how to bribe someone. I would
Yeah, yeah.
just have to ask, right? Like, let's just get over it.
And then the room isn't even like
It
necessarily like
sucks. It's two
yeah, it like
beds.
sucks. Yeah, it's like two beds and like they don't get a bath and uh yeah, they don't do anything like in the suites. And then yeah, like uh and then yeah, that's when he finds out that like his wife has like gambled everything. And you know, she's really good. Julie Haggerty. I like
Yeah.
her a lot. Like she's
Hmm.
really kind of like she's really like cute and funny. I like her in Airplane. Obviously, I think most people know her from Airplane.
Right.
And uh yeah, like yeah, her being like in crazed, like having gambled everything. Uh, and then like how she like hits 22, right? And they're like, yes. Like, oh, are you
$35.
up now? No, we're down. We're down.
We're
We're
down. We're down.
down.
Oh my God. And
Oh man.
that's another great scene because when I think about that scene and it's really just one long take, right? The camera's just panning back from Albert Brooks with her and then panning
Yes.
over
To the
to like the
yeah.
manager on the floor at the moment, and just pans back and forth, right? Him just walk, and that pacing creates like the sense of tension, having to walk back and forth between her and the manager and back and forth, and him trying to figure out, because they don't
Yeah.
tell you how much money she loses until the very end. Like you kind of suspect at the beginning, you're like, oh no, she's lost a lot of money. And the further you're on, you're like, oh no, she's lost a lot of money. And of course, that
Yeah.
reveal that she lost everything, right? She literally the nest egg, all hundred
The
forty
the
thousand
nest egg.
dollars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're totally right about that. It's very virtuosic. There's something
Hmm.
about it that's very well done. And of course we love the scene too where he gets fired or quit. He's getting a promotion. No, he's not even getting a promotion. He thinks he's getting a promotion,
Yes.
but they're basically just like and send you to New York City. And Albert Brooks becomes like very angry, becomes irate. I love when he's like yelling at the second guy, like the bald guy, and he's like, "I hate you. I could hurt you." He says she could hurt him. Like that's a virtuosic performance as well of him being very angry to the point where like he like sort of gets fired, sort of quits. I love that scene, and that scene too. Like it has like a rhythm to it
Hmm.
where it just feels like it's going on longer than like it would normally go on in a
Yeah.
movie like this.
Hmm.
I just feel like comedy movies like this is like this premise is nothing like
It's a very simple
I'm sure
premise.
it's a very simple premise, and I'm sure it's been done many other times in like
Yeah.
more shitty
Hmm.
comedy movies. And you can like imagine like watching one it made today where this scene just has like no patience.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of flies by, right? Every scene just sort of like goes by and like moves on to the next scene before any kind of jokes or developments can like really be solidified, right? And I just like this movie because it just doesn't like it just refuses to like it just refuses to take it just takes its time, you know, and I really appreciate that because I think like you know, even in a movie, even when you're watching a movie, even a movie can sometimes be like impatient and it can
Yeah.
jump around so much to the point where it's like what even is the point? So I appreciate that like Albert Brooks is like let's just like take our time. Like let's just have like the characters talk, you know, like there's no rush even though the movie is 90 minutes long. Like it's a very nice beautiful 90 minutes.
Hmm.
And it breezes by, but the scenes themselves feel long in a good way.
And I think that's one of the things that works so well about this film and why this film is so successful is its ability to wait. And it's not, even though it's very funny and there are a lot of jokes, a lot of the time the jokes are hidden within other jokes. There's sort of this nesting egg thing going on where he will just keep talking and there will be like six jokes in a row, but it's all for the story. You know, I was, when I read the biography of Buster Keaton, which is an incredible biography, he was talking about the scene in one of his very early films where they were shooting underwater. And there's this really great gag where he stops in the middle of the shot to let these fish pass. And on its own, it's a really great gag, right? It works very well. But in the film, like people just weren't laughing every single time. He'd cut it
Yeah.
a bunch of different ways and it just wasn't working. And what Buster Keaton realized was that jokes only work when they are at the behest of the story. The reason that that gag didn't work is because it stopped the story. And so what's
Yeah.
so great about this is all of the jokes in here, they're funny and they're jokes, but they're always for the story, right? There's never a joke there just to tell a joke, right? It's never there just to be funny. It's always there to make the story better, right? It's hilarious when you have that whole nest egg scene, but that only works because he has to get angry because like them losing everything has to be this bigger thing, right? Her gambling everything
Yeah.
away is funny, but it's only funny if you have the consequences. Like without the consequences that come with it, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't hit the same way.
Hmm.
And so going back to that office scene, like there's a ton of jokes in there, but it's funny because we can wait and just watch this whole scene. Like it feels, I think one of the things I love about this film is it feels very authentic in the sense that this feels like a world that I would live in, that I would exist in, like things
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
would
yeah.
actually do, right? They don't feel like, oh, like very kind of over the top for comedic effect. They feel like, oh yeah, this is how a person would react in this situation. Well, I think the things that's incredible about this film is all those little small parts, like the guy sitting on the couch, or like the
Hmm.
manager at the casino, or even that really great scene when they're inside their little motorhome in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, and there's that kid that's his manager.
Yeah.
Like he gives such a great performance, and I guess
Yeah.
Albert Brooks said that that guy he wasn't an actor. Like he worked with a lot of non-actors on this
Yeah.
film. And he's like, I just found this
That's
kid,
good.
and I just talked to him for like an hour, and he's like, the reason I had this kid play the part is like that's just how he talks in real life. Like that's just the
Hmm.
kind of person
Yeah, that's
he
good.
is, and he just wanted to get
That's
a
good.
couple of lines out of
Yeah.
him, and he has like this sort of just right. He's like a teenager. He acts like every teenager to have ever existed in life and in movies, and it's perfect, right? I mean, there's one of my favorite lines in the film is because they have this conversation, him and his wife, Albert Brooks and his wife, about how, oh yeah, she has this really great opportunity for this assistant manager job, but the manager has to sleep on it. And when he sees the like 16-year-old kid who's her manager, he goes, "Oh, you had to sleep on it, did you?" Like that's it. That's the whole line. There's nothing past that. It's just this little bit. Like he doesn't even respond to it,
Yeah.
and it's just perfect, right? It's just like
Yeah.
it's great. It's just the humor of like the situation makes everything funnier. It doesn't even like there's jokes in there, but the situation itself kind of allows itself to play out. And even that scene, right? It goes on for longer than you think it should. I mean, it's not just a like kind of oh, you see the manager and then he
Yeah.
goes. It's still I mean, it's a short scene, but it still goes on. And even like the little background thing when like he's pretty much done with his lines with the
Hmm.
manager, quote unquote, and he's talking to his wife, and his manager is just sitting in the background
Yeah.
watching the Flintstones.
Yeah. Yeah. You're kind of talking about the realism. I love like to like the way that the movie flows. It's so nice. Like I like how they kind of argue like a couple, right? Like where
Yes.
like she makes a mistake. He like freaks out and he like
Hmm.
kind of like he berates her to the point where it's like becomes a little ridiculous and then
Hmm.
she runs away and then he feels bad and chases after her. You know what I mean? Like I like that just because like I think like plenty of people can identify with that kind of,
Yeah.
argumentative thing of like, I'm sorry, like and then he gets into a fight with that very large man at the diner.
Which he very much does
Um
not want to do.
I like that he gets punched. Like, yeah, that's another great scene to establish the fact that they're cowards. Like, he gets punched a little bit, and then he like is like, no, no, no. Like, he like runs her out and stuff like that. Like, because he got punched a little bit.
Hmm.
That's a good again a good scene that sort of again establishes that they are cowards. Uh, but yeah, I love how yeah like they're arguing. He won't like he keeps like belaboring the point that she lost the nest egg and she runs away, but he can't help himself. Like he has to like also like chase after her,
Hmm.
even though yeah. So uh, I like that part too.
And I keep saying, this is my favorite scene in the film. This is my favorite scene. I think every scene is my favorite scene in this film because it's just every scene just hits so very hard. And one of my favorite moments is when he decides to become a cross guard because I mean, there's that great scene where he goes to like the job opportunity place, right, to find a job. And there's that whole great long dialogue between the two of them. But when he's actually at the crossing guard and those kids taunt him, and there's a car sitting there, right? The bikes are going around him, and he's just trying to like egg this car on, just like to hit him. And he's just so cruel and mean and
Yeah,
dumb, and yet you feel bad for him a little bit because like he's not like an evil person at his core. He's just kind of stupid. They're just kind of these stupid, cowardly people. You're still
yeah,
rooting for him in these terrible moments. And of course, the scene ends with the Mercedes coming in and him
yeah.
sniffing the car.
I like that scene too. Yeah, yeah. That scene where yeah he can't he misses it. He misses he misses the little benefits, right? And again, another scene that just sort of establishes that like some people they hate the people hate being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like they don't want to be uncomfortable. And you can almost even like kind of read like a bit of like cynicism in the movie.
for sure.
Um, in a way, like a cynicism that look, like people like can't be independent or they can't decouple themselves from the system.
Hmm.
People are just like too like, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's possible,
Yeah.
but um, that's kind of like another read that you could have on it, and you can like look at that as like a bad or good thing. It depends. Um, but yeah, again, that's the sniffing the car scene is just kind of like, I think like it's just kind of like a movie where it's like, once you get like a little bit of taste of wealth, I think it's hard to let go of it,
Yeah.
and I think too, like you could like read that into like maybe like how wealthy people they hate to pay taxes, like they're fabulously wealthy and they have everything, but they hate having to give it away. They hate having to get rid of it. So that you could you could like kind of like and even and it's not like these people are billionaires like the characters in the movie. They're just kind
Yeah.
of like upper middle class yuppies.
Hmm. No, I mean, there's definitely some poking fun at the idea of wealth, and I also think it has a lot to do with their intentions, right? Because the whole reason they want to leave everything, they don't actually want to leave everything, right? They never actually want to leave their wealth. I mean, that's why they have the nest egg. She tries to, Linda, right after she's nest egg, she's like, this is the thing that we actually wanted. We wanted to be the easy rider lifestyle.
The
And he's like,
easier
no, I don't actually want it, right? Because they realize very early on that no, they never actually wanted this thing that they supposedly are trying to do, right? The supposed
right.
inciting incident is that he
They
gets fired and he's going to go
yeah.
have this new
Yeah,
style life.
the movie is interesting too because it's kind of like I think it's also like it's sort of like the movie is sort of born out of a kernel of a conversation that they have at the very beginning of the movie when they're in bed, where she kind of like the Linda kind of insinuates that like they're too responsible,
Yeah.
right? Like there's no spontaneity in their lives, right? Like they're too responsible, and of course, because every Albert Brooks character is insanely like jealous and insecure, he takes that to heart. And so I think because of that conversation, he sort of like freaks out on his boss, causing him to lose his job. And then he goes to his wife and he's like, "We need to write our lifestyle." So again, I think that's like another very good um that's just like good writing, good filmmaking to be able to like kind of like grow and grow and grow like that situation. Until of course the ending is funny because it just kind of goes back around to where they were before essentially.
Yeah, Albert Brooks talked about in his interview talking about this film that a lot of people complain the ending was tacked on to this film, the whole montage and then going to New York City.
I
And
love the ending though.
I love the ending too. And Albert Brooks says, he's like, no, the whole film comes from the ending. Like that was the idea. Like that
Oh,
thing always had to happen. That was the first thing that they shot. And he's like,
I love the ending.
that's the thing that I knew had to happen. Like he knew he had to escape society, quote unquote, and he knew that at the end of the movie he had to get his job back. And I think it has to be that way. Like I think that joke doesn't like the premise of the movie doesn't work if they stay in Arizona. Like it doesn't work
Yeah.
if he doesn't get his job back. Like if they go to New York and he doesn't get his job back, I don't think it works. Like I just don't think the film works as a whole. Like I just don't think it ends up being funny and you just kind of feel bad for them and then you kind of leave with like a sour taste in your mouth. He has to get his job back. I mean,
Yeah.
and of course, like, oh, he took a 30% cut and blah, 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 right? There's that kind of joke. They
Yeah.
tell you what happens to all of them at the end, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's just kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like the Animal House comedy film thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of making fun of other comedy films, right?
Hmm. That's
And
exactly
yeah,
what it's
like
doing.
I just think that like the ending is perfect where they have the conversation about what they want to do, like with like you said, like with the Wiener Schnitzel manager, and like the end conversation ends with like, "We'll go back to New York City and you ask for a job, and I eat shit, and I eat shit." And then like yeah, and then it's like the montage of them traveling to New York City, and they play that whole uh what I forget the name of the song, but the New
New
York
York, New
City,
York.
like New York, New York, yeah. They
Hmm.
play that whole song, and the good montage of them traveling across America, and yeah, like them arriving, and he gets out, and he sees the bald guy again from earlier in the movie, and he chases after him, and it zooms out. Like that is like one of the best like endings to any movie ever. Like
Hmm.
it's like a really like transcendent ending. Like maybe I'm overrating it, but like there's something
No.
just so like I like that's so it's perfect.
Hmm. Yeah, it's the only ending you can have for this movie. And Albert Brooks was talking about after they actually shot the film sort of in reverse in the sense that they started in New York and then they drove their way back to LA. And so of course they're grabbing all these montage shots while they're driving. But picking Saffron, Arizona was completely random because I guess it's just some small town in Arizona. And
Yeah,
so like
and it is. You could tell that it
it
is
is.
like
It's
it looks like
genuinely a
it's a good
small town in
location.
Arizona. So
Yeah.
it's great location. And I guess the way they did it is like they just drove through the United States getting these shots, right? Kind of grabbing stuff as they go. And they were just like on a search for this small town that kind of grasped everything. But it couldn't be too far away from LA because, right, the whole idea is like Saffron, Arizona is only like a 12-hour drive
Yeah.
from LA. Like they have not gone very far. And that's part of the joke, right? The joke is like they didn't get almost halfway across America. Like it doesn't work the same if they're like in Pennsylvania or if
Yeah.
they're in, Louisville, Kentucky, right? It only
Yeah.
works if they didn't get very far at all because it was never going to work, right? Like there's that great scene early on where he's driving his big motorhome and the motorcycle comes up next to him, right? Which is kind of like the most obvious connection to Easy Rider, right? And he thinks like in his mind that he's the same as the guy on the motorcycle, and the guy flips him off and just drives away, right? Because they're obviously not the
Yeah.
same. But yet in Albert Brooks's mind, he still thinks that they're doing the same thing, right? They've escaped society
Right.
and they've come to live this new life, of course, with their nest egg until that also is lost. And it's incredible. I mean, every second of this film, I'm just so happy with it, and it moves. And there's really not a lot that happens in this movie. I mean, we've basically hit all of the scenes that happen in this movie because it's really just the house, the office, Las Vegas, Saffron, Arizona, and then they go to New York, and that's it. Like, there's not a lot of things that
Yeah.
happen in this movie, and the scenes are really long, but they feel so fast and short and quick, and it's so funny. And it's one of those movies that I'm just like at the end of the movie, I'm just excited to rewatch it because there's definitely it moves so quickly that there's a lot of jokes in there that I know I missed, right? That I know I'm only going to see on a second watch, and yet I don't feel afraid that I'm going to miss the jokes from the first time or like the jokes aren't going to hit the same because it's just perfect. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
you gotta watch the other movies. Like Real Life is good, Modern Romance is good, Defending Your Life is good, which I think you've seen. Have you seen Defending Your Life?
I think this is the only Albert Brooks film I've seen. I mean, I've obviously
Defending
seen
Your
him in
Life
a lot of stuff, but
Defending Your Life is like his fantastical movies with Meryl Streep in which he dies
right.
and he's in heaven and he has to sort of like defend like what he did like when he was alive so that he can go to like heaven or something like that.
Hmm.
Uh that movie's funny. That movie's very well made. That movie has like great sets and stuff and like a
Yeah.
big cast. That's a very kind of like audacious movie of his. People love that one. And it is a cute movie. Um but yeah. Um but Lost in America might be my favorite one out of all of his movies. It's kind of perfect. Um yeah.
Yeah. And that does put us at the end of our conversation
Yeah.
here. And I just want to say, this is my first. Obviously, I've seen him in a ton of stuff before, probably most famously Nemo. Say hi to Uncle Andrew.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
But watching Albert Brooks films was one of the best movie experiences I've had in a while. You're breathing
Yeah.
really heavily, buddy. Like you're just real heavy. Do you hear him breathing?
No.
He's like gasping. He was crawling real fast. But, oh gosh, I just loved this movie so much. I mean, it made me so happy. It's so funny. It's so patient, and it's really simple. I mean, the premise is not that complicated.
No.
Albert Brooks calls this a road movie, right? And there's hundreds of movies just like this that
Right, there are.
can't do what he's doing here, and it's just so enjoyable and lovely. And I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10 because I think it deserves it.
Whoa. I'm going to give it an 8. I don't know why, but I'm just going to give it an 8. Although 9 is tempting. I'll give it a 9.
You should.
Just because, like, yeah, I agree with you. Because, yeah, like, it's a very funny movie. It's a very well-made movie. It's simple. It's effective. And I just like kind of like this commentary, kind of like on 80s, mid-80s.
Yeah,
I think it's very effective. So, yeah, you're right. I'm going to give it a 9 as well.
Good. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Yes, for the last couple of minutes of this podcast. And thank you so much for taking the time. You can find us wherever you find podcasts. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I have nothing to say. And thank you all for listening.
Thanks again.